Welcome to the Tangent Gentlemen, where each week Scott and I start with a topic from the previous episode, and we see where the conversation takes us. Along the way, a question, idea, or disagreement sparks a tangent. Chris keeps up with those tangents behind the scenes, and at the end of the podcast, we select a tangent that will become next week's discussion. And from last week, our topic this week, Scott, is risk-taking.
Yep, going to be a fun one, I think.
I think so.
Good week.
Yeah, I did. How about you?
Yeah, good. Pretty good. No complaints.
Kind of hard to believe Dolly died. Seemed like she'd be around with us forever.
Very sad. Very sad.
Yeah.
Truly an American treasure. A world treasure, really.
Oh, yeah.
Truly a wonderful person, seems like. Yep.
She seems like she was liked by everyone. One of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just a great contributor. And lots of stuff you've talked about on this podcast about, a citizen of humanity.
Yeah.
Humble. Just a great participator, accepted everyone as they were. I mean, just wonderful. Just a wonderful person.
Yeah.
So,
I think she has some kind of book club for kids. Have you ever heard about that?
Does. Yeah, the Imagination Library.
Yeah, my grandson, it's free, right? And you get a book every so often. Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
I didn't know. I read today she donated $1 million to Vanderbilt for the development of the Moderna vaccine for COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And she
$1 million.
And she took the vaccine and did a public service announcement about we all need to get better. We all can take care of one another, and this is one step in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
amazing person.
Yep.
All right. Well, we got risk taking.
We do. Actually, I heard a great story about her. Speaking of risk taking, she apparently Elvis wanted to record. I don't know it may have been I Will Always Love. I'm not sure which song it was. One of her songs.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, this was when she was just coming up, I guess her late 60s, early 70s. And she said, I'd just be honored. I just adore Elvis. And Colonel Tom Parker said, well, whenever Elvis records a song, he gets 50% of the publicity rights. Like you basically have to give him, say he wrote 50, he gets 50% credit for the songwriting. And she said, well, I can't do that. That's not right. He didn't write. I wrote this song.
Yeah, that's goofy.
But she said at the time, people were like, you're crazy. Why Elvis would have recorded your song.
Yeah.
And as she said, it was that song, I Will Always Love You, that Whitney Houston, recorded. She said, suffice it to say, I made the right decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But that's a huge risk, right?
Yeah.
There's still a huge risk. Believing in yourself.
Yeah.
She said, no, that wasn't right. That wasn't right. I wrote that song. That was my song.
I think she wrote 25 number one songs. That's unbelievable. I wonder how many people have done that.
Yeah.
Over 20 number one songs written.
Her history, when you look at, I'm not by no means an expert on her, but I do know that she came up with Porter Wagner in the Porter Wagner show in the 60s. Like that was her point. And she finally just said, I got to go out on my own. And people are like, you can't do that. A woman country singer in the late 60s is just, you need a man to give you a platform. And she said, I'm going to do it.
She's a risk taker.
She's a risk taker.
Yeah.
See, and I think actually she wrote that song, I Will Always Love You, about him. Like not just like in deference to him, that she was gonna, she appreciated all he did for her, but she's got to do what she's got to do. And you can't argue with it. She's, like you said, everybody loved Dolly, and rightfully so.
Yeah. All right, Scott. So can we start with a quick 5-question assessment on your risk-taking versus risk aversion?
Bring it up. Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So, of course this isn't perfect, but you got to choose one of the options. All right. If you choose the first option, it's 1 point. If you choose the second option, it's 3 points. So people listening, if you want to do this along, first option, 1 point, second option, 3 points. Chris, you do this with us as you watch this. You guys may not know, Chris has a private live feed of our podcast. That's how he keeps up with the tangents. So he's listening right now. We'll get him to take the quiz. All right. Number 1. You wait to purchase a new piece of technology until the bugs are fixed. Or B, you buy a first-generation tech product early in its launch just to experience the cutting edge.
B. More B than A.
All right, so 3 points. Number 2, you stick to the same route when traveling to places you go to regularly. Or B,
No.
you intentionally take new routes often.
Always take a different route.
You always take a different route. Okay.
Often. Not always. Often. Yeah.
3, you often order the same meals at restaurants you go to regularly. Or B, you often order unfamiliar meals with ingredients you've never tried.
I'm kind of in between. I guess officially I'll have to say A on that one.
Number 4, you only try new hobbies or tasks that you think you may be good at. Or B, you don't hesitate to jump into new skills where the likelihood of early failure is very high.
I've become more B in the past 10 years.
Okay. And number 5, when at an event, a social event, you spend the evening talking with people you know. Or you go to social events to specifically strike up conversation with strangers.
I'm an A on that one.
All right.
I'm
so
a
you
1.
got
Got 1.
3, 6, 7,
11.
8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
All right.
How'd you do?
9 to 11 points is a balanced risk taker.
Okay.
Yep. And I
All
ended
right.
up with a 9, so that, which is a
Okay.
balanced risk taker. 5 to 8
Yeah.
means you're risk adverse. 9 to 11 is balanced risk taker, and 12 to 15 is a high risk seeker.
Yeah.
So we are both balanced risk takers, according to this quick informal survey.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing us. I mean, but you think that's an age thing?
I don't know.
For me, it is. I think it is. I've gotten to where I'm okay failing, and I want to try. I want to experience different things. I want to see what it's like from the other side, or from whether that's the other side of the world, or other side of the plate, or the other side of the street. I just kind of want to see what it's like.
Yeah.
So
how much of risk taking is willingness to accept failure?
I think it's a good percentage.
Yeah.
40, maybe 50.
I feel like I've been comfortable, failing. I haven't been, I'm not intimidated by failing, something. I don't hesitate to go into something because I might not be, be good at it. But some of these, like as I get older, like I struggle with, I did a 1 for number 3, ordering the same meals at the restaurants because I do that a lot. But as I get older, I venture out a little bit.
Yeah. I'm the same way. It's funny because we had a friend, you actually know, you probably know this person from way back in our teaching days, Nancy Williams. She taught math.
Mm-hmm.
We were good friends with them, and we would always, we would jokingly say, if you went out to the same restaurant, because she'd always get the exact same thing no matter where we went. And we'd say, oh, you're such a Nancy. And that became a thing amongst us. Like, I don't mean to be a Nancy, but I really like the chicken whatever here,
Yeah.
And my wife and I, to this day, we still say that. You're such a Nancy. I don't mean to be a Nancy, but I try. I tend to force myself to go to restaurants I've never gone to before.
Yeah, I like to do that. Yeah.
So that kind of forces me out of that. If I go to the same restaurant or a restaurant I've been to before, I've probably tried 4 or 5 things and decided I really like number 2. So I'm gonna get that one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I do like to go to new restaurants. But one thing that comes to mind, like if I go to have sushi, I always get a rainbow roll every time, and usually a California roll with it.
Yeah.
And I think a rainbow roll is a California roll with fish on top.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I don't know. I like sushi fine. I typically just get I think it's just sashimi, which is just the fish and the rice.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
That I like that more than I like the rolls.
Yeah.
Because I don't like shrimp, and there's a lot of shrimp in the rolls. And I like really spicy. So if anything's like a spicy roll or a firecracker roll, I will get that. Because even if it's got things in it that I've never had or I don't like, I won't eat shrimp. But But if it's got things that I'm like, oh, I've never had eel or I've never had that kind of fish, but it's spicy, I'm going to try it because I like spicy.
Yeah.
So that drives my food choices in that regard. So,
yeah.
The one, what was the other one you said? Oh, the party one.
The social event.
The social event. Yeah. That was a tough one for me because I've often said I would rather go to a thing and have a great 45-minute conversation with one person than 10 okay conversations with, or 10 5-minute conversations, with 10 different people.
Well, this particular assessment went into different categories, like personal routine, was number 2, and the dining thing, and then there was social settings, and I know I'm definitely not a risk taker in social settings. I I keep pretty tight quarters, and so that didn't surprise me on that. If I go to an event, I gravitate towards people I know much more than I do strangers.
Yeah. So I took a really big, for me, it was a huge risk, social risk a couple of weeks ago, a month or so ago. So, I'm into sports betting, and there's a group there's a channel I watch on YouTube for sports betting. And they were people, I see on the show pretty regularly, but I don't know any of them. They were all meeting at a Cubs game in Chicago. And it just happened to be the week, a couple of days we were going to Chicago looking for apartments for my younger son. I was like, hey, these guys are having this meetup at this bar, and then they're going to this Cubs game. And my wife was like, you should go. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know these people at all. I mean, I see them on this YouTube channel, but I don't know them. What if they're just like jerks? She's like, well, then you'll be fine. It'll be all right. You like baseball, And I went. Yeah. And it was good. I mean, it was interesting. There are a couple people on there that I really like their perspective. Like one of the guys has written a book about baseball called The Leadoff Man. And it's all about the history of the leadoff batter in baseball. And it's very nerdy, statistic based. But he just talked about how that has changed over the years as far as what's a good leadoff man. What do you look for in a leadoff man? What attributes do they have? And so I'd read the book. And so it was neat to meet that guy. And then there's another guy that's a younger man who he gives a lot of baseball advice and sporting, betting advice based about baseball. And he's just really taught me a lot. Like, when you're thinking about a game or you're thinking about this bet, look at these 3 things. And it's just been very informative. And I just kind of wanted to say thanks. You taught me a lot. And I think that's where, like, the teacher in me really values people who go about teaching, Yeah, because that's what this guy did, And
you started with something in common, too,
Yeah, right.
I was thinking about education conferences, going to. I really had to make an effort to sit at a table with strangers, rather than the people I went to the conference with. But I made myself do it, and I wasn't comfortable with it. But you always get good things in talking with other people. If you pick up something, that this principal did at this school or this, but I really had to push myself out of my comfort zone to do that, which, I guess that's taking a risk.
So do you think that's I found that the more successes that I had professionally, I felt more comfortable, at the table. I belonged at the table because if you asked me a question, I felt like I could give you something as opposed to just sitting there taking in whatever you were what the others were giving. So do you think that was related? Because I mean, you I worked with you. You were pretty successful in some of the things you were doing, and you could share that. I mean, you're a very gracious person. You like to share and give people those ideas. Do you think that was a piece of it? You were more comfortable taking the risk because you felt like you belonged?
I think,
or you could contribute?
I think so. But it also took me a while to get comfortable with talking about our successes. Mm-hmm. But the longer we were in our career and the more success we had at our high school, the more I would sit down at those tables, and I would end up being the one getting the questions more often.
Yeah.
Especially when it came to, like we've talked about before here, with some things that other schools weren't doing a lot with, like, high volume class walkthroughs and coaching and things like that.
Right.
Everybody was just so interested in hearing about our system.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a similar experience when we designed our district-wide science, high school science PD, training for teachers and developing things. When I would go to the national science conferences, and I would, we would try to present for 1 hour session. And then I would be at other things and people would say, "Oh, I saw your session," or "My colleague went to your session. I have questions." And it really gave you that sense of confidence of like, proverbial, I belong at this table, I can contribute. Not that I belong in an arrogant way, but I can contribute. People, I can help. I guess in the ideal world, isn't that what those conferences should be, right? Colleagues, professionals sharing and helping everyone. I mean, that's the idea, right? So, So.
Well, you mentioned sports betting. I spent a lot of time thinking about gambling versus risk taking and what the differences are. Did you think about that any?
Not directly. I mean, one path I ended up on was the whole dopamine effect.
Okay.
Like dopamine and how people take risks to get that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Which obviously is part of, I think that's part of why people like gambling. And sadly, that's why addictions are what they are, is because people want the dopamine hit, So, but no, I didn't get into, so what did you come up with on that?
So, I started thinking first, okay, let's think about roulette. Okay, which is straight up chance and odds, right?
Right.
So that made me think, okay, the difference between gambling and risk taking is, you've got, there's, after you make your decision, there's some actions you can, in risk taking, there's some actions you can take and things you can do, and that may influence the outcome. And in gambling, once you make your decision, there's nothing that you can do to impact the outcome.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends. Roulette, that's true, but that's not true in poker.
Well, okay.
That's not true in blackjack. Or even craps.
I thought about that. I went there.
Okay.
All right, and sports betting too. So you do your research, but even in poker, once you make your decision, what you're going to do, I'm going all in, or I'm raising, or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, at that point, right.
Yeah,
I guess
you can do some upfront research, but once you make your decision, you can't impact the outcome. In risk taking, and I'm not saying this is true. I'm just that this is kind of where I settled. In risk taking a risk, you make your decision, but there's still some influence you have on the outcome.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, if you decide I'm going to take this new job, and you take it, like you've taken it, you can't. I mean. And sometimes you can go back and say, well, I changed my mind. I want to go back to the job I used to have. But a lot of times you take the new job, you got the new job. You got to figure out how to deal with it. You got the new
job, but what you do with it, you can still, it's still definitely going to impact how that new job goes.
Okay. I see what you're saying. You have influence on the outcome.
Yeah.
As opposed to just the simple decision.
Like when you sit down and look at the next Cincinnati Reds game, you do all your research, and it's definitely going to impact the bet you make.
Yeah.
But once you decide to make that bet and you make your decision, you can't influence the game at all.
Right.
But once we take that new job and you're in that position, your actions influence that new job tremendously. And how it's going to go.
So let's go to a more fun thing. One thing I want to ask you about, because I think you've done a thing that I've always wanted to do and I never have. Haven't you gone skydiving?
Yeah.
See, that's been on my list to do, and I had a chance to do it one time. It's a very long, complicated story, but I didn't get to do it. but I really wanted to, and now I'm kind of an age where I'm just thinking I'm not going to do that now. But,
why not? Why not? You think? I mean, the odds of hitting the ground's pretty. I mean, you're going to hit the ground, but hitting it too hard is very low.
Yeah, I had so the risk, the thrill, if you will, that I used to do a lot was whitewater rafting.
I've never done that,
and
I would like to.
I've had I've had a lot of great experiences whitewater rafting, but I had one experience which was really scary. I mean, really, like some people could have died.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that kind of scary.
Yeah.
And fortunately, it didn't, and people were recovered and everything went well. But that and a book I read, John Krakauer's Into Thin Air, which is all about he worked for Outside Magazine. He was assigned this task of climbing Everest, and he attached himself to this party that was climbing Everest, and it happened to be a year, well, I'm going to say early 90s maybe, and there was a blizzard, and 4 or 5 people died that year in his party. And the book was really about why do people push themselves to these extreme conditions? Like, what do we get out of that? Why do we do that? And it's really, having had the experience I had with rafting, and then I went rafting several times after this experience, and it just wasn't fun anymore. Like, the fear, the awareness of the danger exceeded the joy and the fun.
So, do you think at that point it becomes like reckless behavior?
Not really. It just becomes a risk that I'm not willing to take.
Because of the consequences, which could be death.
Which could be death, yeah.
So,
and so that's where I'm at. That's kind of where I'm at with skydiving, honestly. Yeah. And I know the likelihood, the chance of me dying skydiving is, I won't say it's minuscule, but it's pretty small.
Well, I've told people this that asked me about skydiving. When I went up in that plane, you go to 10,000 feet. I'm trying to remember the numbers, but I think you fall the first 5,000 feet in like 30 seconds or something. I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know. But
I could do the physics on it, but yeah.
Yeah. So, but, like going along, I think you're right, because when I did that, and this was years ago, and I only got to go because somebody backed out, so I took their place. I just made up my mind. I'm just jumping out of that plane, and whatever happens. Yeah. If my parachute doesn't open, it doesn't open. And you get up there, and it's like a Bugs Bunny cartoon, when you look down at the ground and everything's in square field, everything's square and everything, and 10,000 feet's a long way up there. And that guy counts to 3. You just got to be ready just to go. But you got to get your mindset to where, okay, I'm doing it regardless. Yeah. Whatever happens, happens. Yeah. So, I guess that could be considered reckless. I don't know. I still think I would. I don't know whether I would do it now. I'd have to be invited.
Yeah. Well, my situation was it was my buddy Greg that was paraplegic, and we had to find a place where they had people qualified to jump with paraplegics, because it's a little bit different. And we found a place, and we went, and we sat through all the training, and we went through the whole day of waiting. And they were like, "Oh, you're on the 1 o'clock plane, then you're on the 2 o'clock plane," and I had in my mind exactly what you said. Like, I'm doing this. Yeah. Like, I'm going up there, and when they say go, I'm a go, and I'm going, and it's going to work.
Yeah.
And then it ended up, whatever, through the, I'll call unprofessional practices of the company, they said, "Oh, well, he can't go, but you can go. We don't have the qualified assistance for paraplegics to go today."
Yeah.
Even though we had scheduled this weeks in advance and whatever, but you can go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go with my friend not going, and then we're going to drive back to Louisville, and I'm going to be all jacked up.
Yeah, what a disappointment. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was literally, my name, and I was on flight. Like I said, it literally was You're on the 1 o'clock flight. You're on the 2 o'clock flight. And then it got to the last flight of the day, and his name got removed and whatever. But so I had gone through the mental process you said of like, when it gets to 3, you go. I'm ready to go. Let's go. And it didn't happen. And so now I don't know. But now I don't think I would go now. I mean, but having said that, I love going to amusement parks. I love like roller coaster. I love fast, upside down, high. I don't care. I love them all.
Yeah.
And so it's not the same. I know it's not the same, but I do still love that. So
I remember the last guy that went with us. The instructor got so mad at him because one of the things they tell you in training is when you jump out, don't look at the ground. Look out, at the horizon.
Yeah.
And he looked down at the ground, and they did like 3 flips, and the guy was so mad. Yeah, he was cussing. Yeah. But here's something sad though. One of the ladies that was on that trip with us, that was doing the camera and jumping down with us, she ended up. Do you remember when one of the skydivers went through a warehouse in Louisville on Thunder over Louisville?
No,
during the practice? Yeah.
Yeah. That was her?
She was on she was one of the people on our trip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, I mean, that's one of those things. Okay, so going one time is one thing. But if you skydive all the time, I mean, aren't you playing the odds that eventually something bad's going to happen?
Yeah, but it's so rare.
Well, here's the thing that blew my mind. First person goes, they jump, they hit the ground. They lay this parachute and all the strings out on the ground and start folding it, and you can tell it's a certain way to fold it. But then they just pick it up and they stuff it in a bag like a sleeping bag. And I'm like, man, that doesn't look very scientific.
Yeah. Well, that was our experience was because like they had like you have your standard harness attachments that they teach you when when you do your 30-minute training. And my buddy Greg, he was, like I said, he was paraplegic. So his leg attachments weren't the same as for the rest of us.
Yeah.
And they said, it has to be this way. And we got attached the way we were supposedly supposed to. And he's like, and I just remember him lifting up the bands and saying like, this seemed loose to you? It seems like it's a little loose. I was like, yeah, I don't think that's the way it was in the video. I don't think that's right. And so we asked her, like, hey, wait a minute, could you do this? And then that's when they acknowledged that the person who they said was going to be there that knew the specifics. But we were really close to going.
With loose straps?
With this loose straps. So it was kind of, I don't know. But it made for a great story.
Yeah.
That
was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. So okay. So I looked up some like things that are recommended that people should attempt to take risk at. So okay. I'll pitch these to you and see what, and I know some of these because we've experienced some of these together and you've talked about some of them. One of them is confronting your fears.
Yeah.
Like, do you have any of your fears that you can say, I was really afraid of this, but I did this thing? Like, did you have a fear of heights before you went skydiving?
I mean, I think I got the same thing everybody has when you look over, from something high, you get that feeling in your stomach. But yeah. I don't think it's really a fear. If I'm on like a solid surface, I don't feel it. But we'll tell you ever been up in one of those high buildings that have the glass floors? Yeah. I don't like those at all.
See, that doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah. I mean, I get on them, but I don't know if it's a fear, but they do make me feel.
What about like climbing, like working on the roof? Is that?
No, I just did that. Tia and I just put a roof on but I'm always weighing the consequences, so I thought about that. Like, is calculated risk versus recklessness just not considering the consequences? Because like if I'm on a roof that is one story, I think I'm probably going to survive the fall. Maybe I'll sprain an ankle or something.
Yeah, we'll probably break something at our age. Sorry.
I don't know. Yeah. I like to think in my head I'm still athletic enough to land, a certain way.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you're a wrestler. You might know things I don't know. So.
But if I'm 2 stories up, I'm going to have something that's going to stop my fall, you know?
Yeah.
So I think
well, my house has a really steep roof, and I had done some work on it when we first moved in. And about 4 years ago, there were some things that needed to be done about up on the second part into the steep part. And I got up there. It was like gutter work, which I had done before, and I felt pretty comfortable doing. And I got up there, and I was like, "This is a feeling I've never had before. Like I don't feel comfortable up here at all." Like, and I had straps, and I had harness, and I had all this stuff, and I just thought, and it's exactly what you said. Like I assessed the consequences and decided this is not for me. I'm just going to pay somebody to do this. And it was amazing because when the person came that did it, they didn't have harnesses or straps. They just got up there and did it.
So as you get older, do you think the case was that you're just wiser, or you have more to lose, or you don't trust your physical capabilities? What do you?
Yeah, I think maybe all of the above.
And then when you're younger, is because you just haven't experienced enough yet? Like when you were comfortable on that roof, is it just because, you know, like what makes you what makes you more comfortable when you're younger?
I don't know. I mean, I guess, like you said, maybe just ignorance. You know, I was willing to take the risk. I don't know.
I think we're at the age now, though, that you know you're not physically the same. You know, like if you...
Right, and the consequences are greater.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's definitely, I do think, I mean, probably all of us take less risk as we get older. Do you think that's true?
Right. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had and from when I had first gone up on the roof and done some stuff, I had also had just a weird accident, just ice skating, which I had done dozens of times in my life. And I had a really bad break, broke my leg and tore my ankle up ice skating. And it wasn't like I was playing hockey or doing anything particularly aggressive. I was just ice skating.
Yeah.
And it just happened. And the orthopedic surgeon was like, yeah, this happens.
You're old, man. You're freaking old.
I'm old. I'm freaking old. I am.
Your bones
so I
just
think that's
break.
part of it. They do. Okay, so fear. So then the other one, one other was willing to do something totally on your own, like something solo. Like that was a risk. That was.
So give me an example. Are you talking like a trip, or what do you mean?
So the thing I thought of is, in this, you and I intersected on this. So a group of people that we used to work with who went on a trip, went to a conference, and I went just to go, not to go to the conference.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I was there, and this happened a couple years in a row at different cities, I just went out in that city.
Yeah.
And just went around, wandered around, walked around, read about things, went to this place, ate some food, did this thing, totally by myself for 8 hours in a place that was completely foreign to me.
Yeah.
Now, it was foreign, but yet, you know, they spoke English. I could read the signs. So it wasn't that exotic, but it still was like, I'm totally on my own.
Do you think it's something, do you think that's a nature thing? Like something in your nature, or something in maybe a nurture thing, the way you've been raised to give you the confidence to do that? Or what do you think?
I don't know. I think it's a little bit of experience because I've been in a lot of big cities, so I feel like I understand the layout of the land. Now, I'll contrast this with, and this will be one right near and dear to you. When I retired initially, I was trying to get out and do 3 to 5 miles of walking or hiking every day, or 5 days a week. And I started going to Jefferson Memorial Forest, right by your old house.
Mm-hmm.
And we just go out. And there was one time I went out and I got lost. And I mean, I got really lost.
Really?
And I was kind of freaking out.
Yeah.
Because, like, I didn't know where I was. And I just had to, like, sit down and remind myself that, okay, you are in this space. If you go this way for 3 miles, you're going to end up intersecting this road. Yeah. If you go this other way for 3 miles, you're going to intersect this road. You're going to get to a place you know. But I mean, I was really lost. And so, but yet I think about it as a really poignant growing experience. Because I mean, I took a risk. I took a huge risk wandering by myself. And the funny thing is, I felt more lost there than I have in Chicago or Denver or New York or any other big city I've wandered around in.
Well, you probably didn't have any people around you.
Yeah, there's nobody.
Yeah.
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 And no landmark that I could identify. That was the other piece.
Yeah.
So, whereas for you, you would either know the trail or be cognizant of like, oh, you're in this part of the forest. You want to go this place, you'll end up here. I just was lost.
Yeah.
You know? But yet I do think of that as a risk that I took, and I feel better about it now. I mean, and to your point about knowledge and older and wiser, when I go to the forest now, I make sure I know where I'm going. I have a better sense of the trails and the paths that I'm about to go into.
Yeah. People ended up in my front yard all the time lost because they would hit Top Hill Road and just start walking the road, you know. But they still didn't know where they were. They just thought, if I stay on the road, they would come to our house and I could walk them out the ridge of our house and get them back to the Siltstone Trail and tell them how to get to the Welcome Center. Happened all the time.
Wow.
All the time.
I didn't make it that far. I was in the woods. I never got to a road, but I got to a water. And I was like, okay, well, this water leads me to such and such. So I was able to get that way. So, but that's one. So solo, doing things on your own.
Yeah.
Which, here's the thing. Do you often go or ever go out to meals like by yourself, like a dinner by yourself or movies by yourself?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No.
That's a risk, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a thing, you know.
There's no, I mean, I wouldn't be, I don't think I would avoid doing that, but it's just something I don't do.
Yeah. So that's one.
Yeah, Cindy and I usually do things together.
Yeah. So
I got thinking about this idea. All right. Let's say you're risk averse. And you really can't avoid risk by not taking risk. So, I mean, like, you're still making a choice and you're still betting on some future outcome, right? If you don't,
are you though?
There's something that's gonna happen. Let's go back to the job idea. Okay, you got this new career opportunity. You can take this risk and you can leave this secure, stable job you have and maybe take this job that is going to have better outcomes, maybe financially or maybe for your family, whatever it might be, or you can stay where you are. It's still a risk to stay where you are, right?
Well, sure. I mean, it's a risk in that you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're still betting on the future.
Yeah, right.
So then I start thinking about, like, it's kind of a, it's you don't really avoid risk by avoiding risk.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that argument. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there's still you're making a decision, and there's going to be some consequences.
Yeah.
You know. And maybe I'm thinking more like everyday type of risk, you know, not thinking about whitewater rafting or parachuting or you know, I obviously skydiving. If you don't go, you don't have the risk of hitting the ground at 120 miles per hour.
All right. Yeah.
But there's, you know, risk taking. I just started to have this idea: risk taking versus regret.
Yeah.
You know, because let's say that I don't think anybody's at the extreme either way, but let's say that there's somebody that never takes a risk. They always just stay with where they are. That's not much of a life, would it be?
Well, not for me. Yeah, I would agree. It's not. Yeah.
And, you know, is it how much regret are you going to have on what might have been if I would have done this or I would have done that?
I know a few people I think that have lived like that. And the sad thing is, I think they convinced themselves that their version, and maybe it is, they convinced themselves that their version is better. And maybe for them it is. Maybe that they have been a happier person because they didn't have to deal with the stress of the unknown. What they perceive as the stress of the unknown. I mean, your point, I think, is very valid that you're kind of delusional if you think that it's all known. Because even if you stay doing the same thing, whether it's the same job or the same apartment or the same house or the same city, there's unknown. Things are going to happen. But you don't put yourself in a position for the sort of the rewards of the unknown if you don't take the chance. So
yeah, it's like
I don't know.
So I mean, you're kind of talking about uncertainty. Like how much uncertainty am I willing to accept for something that might make for a better outcome or a better life?
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of value in being content. I think sometimes we think content's a negative word. Right. But it's really not.
No.
It's really very valuable to be content with where you are and what's happening in your life. I mean,
yeah. No, I agree completely. I've thought about this a lot in the past 4 years since I've retired. Like several of my friends are like, "Oh, you should do this. You should get a job. You should get a new career. You should do this." And I'm like, "But why? Like to what end?" I mean, you can make more money. Well, what if money's not that important to me? I mean, more money is not necessarily more happiness.
Yeah.
I don't equate those two things at all.
Mm-mm.
And so what about more experiences, more opportunities, more? Yeah, I like those things. Well, having a job, to me, could prevent you from having more experiences and more opportunities.
Yeah.
Because it creates this fixed entity that you have to participate, you're expected to participate in. And I don't necessarily want to do that. Yeah. So to me, that's kind of the not participating is the riskier thing to a certain extent, because I don't have to, I'm not doing that. So I'm availing myself of more opportunities to go places and do things and have experiences.
So we are two balanced risk takers. I wonder if Chris is going to be a balanced risk taker. I wonder, he took the assessment with us. What do you think? What's your guess?
I don't know. I think Chris is a little more conservative than we are.
Yeah, I think he's going to be more. Agree? Yeah, I think he'll be more risk averse. I'd be curious to see if he fell into the risk averse. But let's go ahead and bring him in. You ready, or you got something else?
There was one more I wanted to pitch to you. Let me see. Well, no, I think we covered all the. Well, okay, travel.
Okay.
Are you an adventurous traveler, would you say? Are you a risk-taking traveler?
I don't mind, I don't mind going overseas and not knowing where I'm going and being in a new place and doing those sorts of things. But I'm also kind of a homebody. I like being at home, so I haven't traveled a lot. I've only been overseas one time, and I probably haven't been to half the U.S. states.
So let's see, 2015, so 11 years ago, we did a trip that I've always wanted to do where we left Louisville and we had tickets to a concert in Chicago. It was either 17 or 21 days later. So we needed to be in Chicago in 21, we'll say 17 or 20, whatever, we'll say 17 days. And I had everybody write down 5 things they wanted to see, and we do the best we could to get there. And we just went.
So the whole family, so 20 places.
We had camping gear, and my wife said we can't camp for 20 days, but as long as I get a hotel every 3 or 4 days, I'm okay with this.
I'd be the same way. Hell with those tents.
And we left Louisville, and we made it all the way to Yosemite.
Yeah.
In California. We did not get to the Pacific Ocean, which was on several people's lists. We didn't make it that far, but we went along the way. We went to the Cadillac Ranch in Amarillo, Texas. We went to, which is a place where a guy buried a bunch of Cadillacs in the ground. It's very weird.
I've seen that. I've seen pictures. Yeah.
We spent a couple days in Albuquerque. We went to the Grand Canyon. We went to Vegas. We went to Yosemite. We went through Nevada. We went back across. We went to Deadwood. We went to in South Dakota. We went to Yellowstone. We went to the Badlands.
Talking about taking a risk, you go through South Dakota and you have those signs that say no services next 150 miles.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
But the funny thing is, the first night we left St. Louis, and I said, "Where y'all want to go?" And they're like, "Oh, come on, Dad, we know you got a plan." And I'm like, "I don't have a plan."
That's cool.
And we drove for like 20 hours till we got to Tucumcari, New Mexico, and it was 2 a.m. And we're like, "Okay, we're stopping here because I'm exhausted. Everybody's tired."
See, I think I would enjoy it. I would enjoy that. I would enjoy that trip.
It was today where we're going to go. And all I said to them is, I don't know what you're going to do today, but we're going to see something that none of us have ever seen before.
Yeah, I would have fun with that.
And some of it was great, and some of it was okay. The one that was funny is when we got to the Grand Canyon, we couldn't find a place to stay, so we ended up sleeping in the car. And my family, they were freaking out.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to get arrested.
I remember this story.
We're going to die. I can't believe we're doing this. I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I mean,
but here's the thing, risk reward, right? 5:30 in the morning, the sun comes up. We wake up.
That car smells like serious morning breath.
Oh, you can only imagine. One preteen, one teenage boy, and the two adults. But we were the first people in the Grand Canyon National Park that day, which was amazing. To be in the Grand Canyon at 6 a.m. was amazing. So, risk reward, right? So, that was probably the most adventurous,
that's pretty
thing
cool.
I've ever done.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was cool. It was fun.
That's cool. The only fail is that, Lewis and Clark left St. Louis in boats. Yeah. And y'all have cars and interstates, and they made it to the Pacific Ocean. Yeah, here's the Snyders. Didn't quite.
It was a fail. The funny thing, one of the funny parts about this, we got to Tucumcari, New Mexico, which, funny story. The reason we chose that is we had read that it was the highest concentration of neon on Route 66, like the most neon on Route 66. So that's why we chose that city or town. The only thing that guidebooks or whoever didn't tell us is they turn it all off at like 10 p.m. And we got there at like 1 a.m. So it was nothing. It was just an old town. So the next morning we wake up and my older son says to me, Dad, you probably don't want to hear this, but we are closer to Louisville than we are the Pacific Ocean right now. And that's when I realized, man, we live in a huge country. So,
yes. Yeah. There's a lot of things.
Great risk, great reward. So,
that sounded like a cool trip.
Yeah, it was a great trip.
Everybody will remember that forever. Yeah.
I got to see the pictures of that trip when he got back, and you could tell, I'm like, that's what it's all about. That's a memory that you'll have forever, and you can see it in his face that he loved every second of it. Even
it was great.
Yeah. So it was cool to see those pictures and get the stories.
Your score? What are you?
Well, so this is funny because I scored a 9. But this is so
really.
That's what I scored was a 9. Yeah.
So, but I gave myself 2 1.5s and counted that as 2 points.
Oh no, I can't do that.
I needed 3 answers.
No.
That is what I do, man. I'm middle of the road.
So you are risk averse.
If I split it, I'd be an 8. If I had to,
you are risk averse.
You're risk averse.
I've known you long enough, and I've traveled with you. You are risk averse.
Yeah.
But
there's no shame in that.
Ain't no shame. That's just how you are, man.
Those questions. I just had to say those questions were weak because y'all know I'm not gonna get the crazy thing on the menu, and I'm gonna pay $25 for a meal. I'm gonna get what I like.
Hey,
I'm not gonna get something I know I like.
I would have said you were risk averse before you even took the quiz, man.
But I'll get up on the stage with the buddies band and play some cowbell too.
Oh,
so
social settings.
Social settings.
I'm all about it. You'd have gotten a 5 if that was an option on the question.
So I'm all about it.
You're all about risk and social settings. Yeah, I give you that.
Yeah. I like that. I knew that quiz. I'm like, man, I'm not 1 or 2. I'm a 1.5.
No, that ain't how it works. You got to pick one.
So I'm a cheap 9. But I will say, like, routes, you know, I got it on GPS and I'm doing the quickest route. Oh
my gosh, I hate GPS. So on this trip, this aforementioned trip, I cannot tell you the number of times I had this conversation with my wife. She's like, well, the phone said we should da-da-da-da-da. I was like, well, can we just go? Why do I have to listen to the phone? And one time the phone like totally screwed us. And you know me, I was just like,
I bet you were intolerable.
I'm sure I was.
I drive Cindy crazy with different routes. She's like, why are you going this way? She likes to take the same route. I'm everywhere.
I'll tell you what I do as far as routes go. If I see there's traffic ahead, or I know how 65 is at this time of day, and we're heading to Nolan Lake, I will drive an extra 25 miles and get there 10 minutes later if it means I'm not stopping. Like, I'm not going to have to sit in traffic because my brain explodes in traffic. I can't do it. I cannot do it. It just seems like a total inefficient setup where they can't get stuff done and they're doing all the hardest of work during rush hour. And it's just, you know what? It just doesn't work for me. So it's cool to sit back and listen to this because I have so many questions like that we did not get to. This is one I feel like could be a 2-parter because I'm like, dude, you guys are not getting to some things that I need answers on.
Man, let's hear it.
You know, the first thing I thought of is like, as I've gotten older, that risk taking has to be versus having control, because you almost have to give up some control in the situation when there's any kind of risk taking. And when you think about it, even back when you were younger, there's that risk taking. And man, I kind of like to plot my life and have a plan, set my plan, and try to execute it. And that there's a risk along the way. But if you're going to take that big risk, even if it's like a stupid thing at night, and you're in a social setting or with your friends and you're going to try to do this stupid jump over a picnic table, whatever it is, or if it's a career risk, you still have to give up a little control. So I just think that's the struggle with me, is that I'm always splitting hairs or splitting the middle, and because I don't want to give up total control, I got a plan. But what I wanted to hear from you guys is like, what are some of you think are your biggest risk? And not just the ones that were like successful and have made you who you are, but sometimes the failures are as important as anything else. And I wonder, did any stand out? Like, if I could have charged you guys to have one answer for this week, I don't want to know. You tell me your biggest risk that was a success.
Oh, gosh.
And tell me your biggest risk that was a failure. And, you know, or maybe when you regret not taking a chance. I can tell you mine. I'm not going to talk about it yet.
I have 2 examples that I don't consider them failures, but I recognize they are dramatic. They would have been dramatic life alterers. Yeah. So when I was in high school and I applied to college, I really wanted to go to Harvard, and I applied to Harvard, and I got a phone call from a guy that he was the admission counselor for the East Coast for Harvard. And he was the brother of a woman that my sister babysat for. And he said, hey, my sister tells me that you're applying to Harvard. Why don't you send me your information and I'll pull up your application. And idealistic 16-year-old Scott said, but I don't live on the East Coast. I live in Kentucky.
I can see it.
And he said, but I could pull your application, and maybe see. And I'm like, and I said to the guy, if I can't get in, I need to know that I got in on my own. I want to know that I got in because I got in, not because some guy pulled my application.
Do you regret that?
I don't regret it.
No way.
Yeah. But I'm not ignorant. I mean, I don't know that I would have got in, Now, on the other side of that, on the other side of the country, I did get into Stanford. And I probably got in because there was a guy I knew who was our parish priest, who was my soccer coach when I was in 7th and 8th grade. And he went to Stanford. And guess he probably, whatever. I don't know how this all worked back then. But, it cost $14,000 to go to Stanford in 1982. And I didn't have $14,000. And I didn't know how college loans work. I didn't know how that process worked. So I didn't go to Stanford.
Yeah.
Either of those decisions would have dramatically altered my life.
Yeah, I think it goes straight into something Brad was talking about. Like sometimes
so is that a risk?
Not taking risks. Well,
no, but is that a risk?
It's kind of tells you that sometimes when you take not taking a risk, it all plays out in the end. And I think if you look at the three of us, and our lives, forget money. We got great kids, been married for, I think I've been the longest married at 27 years. And I have no regrets. I have some risk I wish I would have taken, but if you live 50 plus years on this earth and don't have risk you wish you would have taken, then you ain't been living. So I just think that those kind of things come up. It's cool to look back and know you probably wouldn't have your boys and maybe never met Aaron if you went to Stanford. You may be living in California. Like how different could life be?
Fathom. I mean, it's a classic sliding doors scenario, right? I can't even fathom what that sliding door would have opened into. And, I can't even. But I go back to the same point. In no way do I feel like I don't have a great life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I don't regret it. I don't regret it. I mean, I have a pretty amazing life, so I'm pretty happy.
Exactly. And I think we all feel that way. So it's like, it's these kind of talks or discussions you guys are having. It's just fun to kind of put yourself out there. It's made me think back on some things. Like it's funny how it triggers you when you listen. I'm more of a talker than a listener. So when I listen to you guys ramble on for 45, 55 minutes, I have to do a lot of processing, and it's really good. But I will take a picture of what my notes look like these days. Y'all will crack up. But, and I got to thinking, like, how many of the risks that I take, and let me ask you guys this, are you a feel or a fact guy? In other words, you go by the gut, or do you use the data? When you're taking a risk, what's the fee? What do you go by? And it might be a little bit of both, but what do you go by?
Yeah.
I think I'm more fact-based. I don't mind riding whatever roller coaster exists because I'm confident that a lot of engineers have researched that this is going to be pretty safe. It may be scary as hell while I'm doing it, but I'm pretty confident.
What if it's a hiring decision? Let's say you're hiring somebody and you're like, okay, this person A is, stellar. Went to this school. What an interview. Can imagine what he could do here. And then person B is like, she has been here working her butt off for 5 years. And I don't know if she's as sharp as this guy, but she's good. And I know she's committed. So you got to go with this guy's blowing her away on the stats. But my other candidate here, I know. Like that's like you taking a chance on a new guy, or are you taking a chance that somebody's going to be able to pull through because of that gut feeling that her. Those kind of decisions, like jumping out of an airplane, is different. I love to jumping out of an airplane stuff.
I think you got to weigh it all, but I think your gut feel has to be supported by some facts too.
Hey, this is crazy. This might sound crazy to y'all. Tell me, when you got something you got to decide, whether it's A or B, wrong or right, when you actually look in the mirror at yourself, does it not just ring true? It's like when I look in the mirror and see my eyes, and I can't lie to myself. Like, it. If you're trying to talk yourself out of something, go brush your teeth and look in the mirror, and you go like, Yeah. You know what you got to do. You're going to do the right thing.
My favorite teacher in high school, what did he say, Brother Julius? He would say, you can have anything you want in life. He said, everything you want in life is either illegal, immoral, or fattening. but you can rationalize anything.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. You can live by that. That's so good.
Brother Julius, this guy was crazy. He's a Zavarian brother, very faithful, religious man, and he rode a motorcycle. And every summer, he would ride his motorcycle across the country.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what I just described about us. I'm sure that probably inspired me a little bit. He would say, I got 21 days. I'm riding out for 10 and coming back for 11. And he would just go where he would go.
Yeah.
On his motorcycle. Yeah. Very, very cool dude. All right, we didn't grade. What's our grade?
I never got a motorcycle because the first time I borrowed my cousin's Kawasaki Ninja, I got on I-65 and I looked down and I was doing 130 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's one of those things I think back now and I'm like, stupid.
Oh, yeah.
So stupid.
That's going to come up in one of our tangents, I think.
Yeah.
That's
so
one of the
stupid.
That's one of the stupidest things I did. And the other thing, y'all remember Parkmore Bowling Alley down by U of L?
Yeah.
Do you remember WLOU's tower that was behind it?
Oh, yeah. That's the big Brad story right here.
I climbed to the top of that one night. Very top. And I think back, that was so stupid.
Wow.
You know how tall that thing
stupid.
was.
I know it. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's out there.
But you lived
what
to tell
the
about
grade?
it.
Are we taking risks?
Yeah.
I like taking risks.
I love it. It's awesome.
I think it's a B+.
Yeah.
You know why?
I think you got to take a risk. And I think if you avoid risk, you're still taking risk.
Yeah.
It's a win-win because when you don't take risk, you still learn from not taking the risk, and you have some regrets, but it brings you of age for next time that risk opportunity maybe comes in. So taking risk, you don't want to always take the risk. So it'd be crazy to say, take the risk. But I give them an A. I give it an A. Either way, it's good.
I think as long as you know that line, if you somewhat can filter that line between calculated risk and recklessness, I'd say A or B.
Yeah.
I think you got to take risk to have better outcomes, no doubt.
Yeah, I go A. This is our highest. This might be the highest we've graded anything.
Yeah.
I know.
Might
Because
be.
we had fun. We had a positive. We didn't have a dark.
That was good. I really wanted you guys to do the seven deadly sins. I was like all about it. But okay. Well,
all right, Chris, what we got?
So here's what we got. I got 3.
All right.
And the first one that I came up with was we talked a lot about, it these kind of makes sense as to how they come out of these tangents. Because you guys stay pretty focused tonight, more focused than normal. It's almost like this was another Bourbon episode, and you guys could talk about that subject for 45 minutes. The first thing was consequences. We talked about when you guys were going to skydiving, and man, you talk about the ultimate consequence, right? But we talked about consequences of things quite a bit, and then that kind of comes along with risk taking. So you can imagine that wasn't a surprise. But I remember, Brad, when we went to Providence and we were at that conference in Providence, and we sat at that table. You talked about sitting at a table with strangers.
Yeah.
We sat at a table, had no idea who we were sitting with. And it's one of those tables of 10. So it's myself, Brad, and 8 other people. And they were all dressed in suits, and we were, we look fairy tale good. And they were like, "Well, how's the conference?" And we're like, it's not really been for us. These schools are not, we can't really relate to the kind of students we have. So it's not been a whole lot hasn't been great. And then we find out, they said, well, hey, we're the 8 people that have organized this conference, so we would love to get more feedback from you. And we're like, oh my gosh. And then they asked, when did you guys present? And we're like, we didn't present. She goes, oh, well, everybody, that's how you get here. Everybody presents. And at some point, we're like, oh, crap. Well, we're definitely at the wrong concert, but let me tell you, you guys have some great bands in Providence, because we didn't get in until 2:30 in the morning last night. But consequences, man, I think that came up last week actually as well. This week I think it was even more so. But yeah, that's all right. So here's one I really liked, and it's like was a good tangent. But what about confronting fear? We talked about a lot of fears, and you got fears like claustrophobia. Like I'm claustrophobic, man. I tell you what, that'd be my worst nightmare. is to be stuck in an elevator or stuck. We see those stories about people stuck underwater in tubes or anything like that. My hands start to sweat. So that would be one of the true fears that I could confront. But what about other stuff? What about like just confrontations or just confronting whatever fear that you may have had in life? And it doesn't have to be something that physically is a fearful thing. It could be like the mental, the social. There's so many ways to go with just confronting fear. And maybe some times where you guys did that would be a good thing to talk about and share. The thing you guys talked about more than anything, though, by far, and was I don't want to call it aging. Let's call it like the 50-plus blueprint or like the back nine or just the 50 years of wisdom. Because, you guys talked a lot about like how we're talking about risk taking and how it's changed. And like Scott, you said stuff, well, I'm not going to do this at this age because, dang, I made it to now where I don't have to work. I'm not jumping out of a plane. When I was 30, hell yeah, let's jump out of a plane. But right now, life's good. I'm not risking this. I'm cruising on to the finish line here, baby. So, but you guys talked about aging. You guys talked about all these, the physical part, the mental part, the social part. And it's like one thing about Kenner. I know Kenner Moppin, my brother-in-law, he says, talking about aging and social events, with his aging response is, I don't need any more friends. I have all the friends I need. So he is like, he has gotten antisocial in his old age, but we're not old, but we do have some wisdom. So aging affects the mental, the physical, the social. What about a podcast where you talked about that? We talked about the back nine, because if we live the first 50 plus years, now we got the next 50 years to live, which it would be interesting to share. It's wide open, but there's some good stuff. So the three, we got the consequences. We have, what was two? Confronting a fear, and just the back nine, the aging. How have we changed? What are some things that have happened? How have you changed over the decades?
You forgot.
Maybe even
you forgot Dolly Parton.
Yeah,
that was a long tangent.
That's right.
Well, I had that, but like, I love Dolly. Everybody loved Dolly. We need more good humans like Dolly Parton. I think every podcast that's been done today has probably had a Dolly Parton.
Yeah, no doubt
in it, because and I will tell you this. Think about this. I found out about Dolly Parton dining at lunch yesterday in third lunch, and that's like at 1:20 or fourth lunch, like at 1:00. That late. So I go in, get on my computer, and CNN Dolly Parton. It's just all Dolly Parton. They're not talking about anything else. I get home at 6. I turn it on CNN, Dolly Parton. Put it on any news channel. All of them are still just talking about Dolly Parton. That usually has to be a leader of a country or somebody that gets assassinated. This lady had such an impact that, what a tribute, that into the night, you had Dolly Parton as the entire news story. And then at 10 o'clock, I'm across the street talking with the neighbors, happen to be mom and dad, and ABC cancels their 10 o'clock show and does a 1-hour tribute to Dolly Parton. Now, that's when you've had an impact on the world.
Flags are half staff too, right?
For a week, yeah. Ours are lowered right now. So that's the ultimate
that could go with aging,
salute. Though. Absolutely. Dolly Parton. You can start at the level of Dolly Parton as she aged over the years. And
didn't her husband just die a few months ago?
Last year.
How often does that happen?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Especially if it's like a close relationship, which seems like they had.
Yeah, I think 59 years. 59 years. The guy went to the laundromat at the right time, and he hooked up with Dolly. Good for him. Good for that guy.
What do you think, Scott?
Now, aging is a bad way. That's a negative term. So let's think of like.
No, it's not.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, okay. Everybody, we all age. We're all dying from the day we're born.
We're experts on how old we are.
Yeah,
that's all right. I'm okay with aging.
I like aging.
Back nine, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Let's do aging.
Okay.
You good with aging?
Yep.
All right. So next week it will be aging. And we want to thank everybody for watching or listening, whatever you do. And please share us and Give us a comment and a like and subscribe and all those things. It helps.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
See you
Appreciate
guys
it for
next
listening.
week.
Yeah, thanks for taking a risk.
Yeah.